Welcome to the CompTIA A+ Prepcast presented by baremetalcyber.com. Change management in IT environments is a formal process used to plan, evaluate, approve, and implement changes to technology systems in a controlled and secure manner. The purpose of this process is to reduce the risk of unplanned outages, improve coordination, and establish accountability across IT operations. Rather than allowing changes to occur haphazardly, change management ensures that all modifications are evaluated through structured steps. The A+ certification includes this topic under Operational Procedures, focusing on recognition of the change management process and its essential components. A change in the context of IT includes any modification to hardware, software, configurations, or user policies. Changes can range from simple software patches and hardware upgrades to new systems deployment and permission alterations. Even minor configuration changes or user access updates qualify as changes under this process. Informal or undocumented changes can introduce vulnerabilities, create troubleshooting difficulties, and increase the risk of data loss or downtime. For this reason, it is critical to identify all changes and ensure they are processed through a formal approval and tracking system. The change request is a formal document or record that initiates the process. It describes what is being changed, why the change is necessary, who is responsible for the work, and when the change is expected to occur. The request must also include a risk assessment, the anticipated impact of the change, and a rollback or backout plan in case the change needs to be reversed. These requests are submitted for review and are not implemented until they are reviewed and approved by the appropriate authority. The exam expects familiarity with the elements that belong in a proper change request. A Change Advisory Board, often abbreviated as CAB, is a group responsible for reviewing and approving submitted change requests. This board typically includes representatives from IT, management, and compliance teams. Their job is to assess each proposed change and verify that all risks are identified and mitigated. The board determines whether the change is justified, how it may affect users, and whether the benefits outweigh the potential disruptions. By requiring approval from a diverse team, organizations ensure that technical, business, and regulatory concerns are considered before changes are allowed. Risk and impact assessment is a core part of the change management process. Before a change is approved, its potential effects on systems, users, and dependencies must be evaluated thoroughly. This step identifies possible downtime, data loss, or conflicts with existing configurations. It also determines whether users must be notified, whether dependent systems will be affected, and whether any temporary service disruptions are acceptable. The depth of this assessment helps the approval team make informed decisions and allows the implementation team to prepare accordingly. Scheduling and communication are also important in managing change effectively. Changes should be scheduled during periods of low system usage, such as overnight hours or weekends, when disruption to business processes will be minimal. Notifications must be sent to users in advance, detailing the nature of the change, the timing, and any instructions they may need. These notices may be included in email announcements, posted in internal portals, or documented within support tickets. Communication ensures that users are informed, reduces help desk calls, and improves overall user confidence in IT services. An example of change management in action might involve migrating a print server over a weekend. In this scenario, the technician submits a change request that includes a proposed schedule, risk evaluation, and rollback steps. The request is reviewed and approved, and users receive an email on Friday detailing the upcoming change. The migration is completed on Saturday, and testing confirms success. By Monday morning, users experience no disruption, and the change is marked as complete in the system. This scenario demonstrates how structured change management leads to predictable and successful outcomes. Once a change is implemented, verification is required to confirm its success. This step involves checking system logs, running tests, and gathering user feedback. The technician responsible for the change documents the outcome, including whether the change worked as expected or encountered issues. Verification is essential for validating that the process was followed properly and that the system is stable. These notes become part of the change record and help in identifying patterns if similar issues arise in the future. Post-change documentation is the final step in a standard change process. This includes logging the time the change was completed, the results of the implementation, any unexpected behavior, and what steps were taken to resolve issues. If network maps or configuration documents were affected, those records must be updated to reflect the new state. Keeping this documentation current supports troubleshooting, auditing, and compliance. The exam will often present questions about what information belongs in post-change records. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. The rollback or backout plan is one of the most critical components of the change management process. It provides a predefined method for reverting systems to their previous state if the change does not go as planned. This step protects against service disruption and ensures business continuity in case of failure. A proper rollback plan must be tested in advance to confirm that it will function correctly under pressure. For high-risk changes involving critical infrastructure, having a proven rollback plan is not optional. It is a necessary safeguard against unintended consequences. In some situations, an emergency change process is required to respond to urgent technical issues that cannot wait for formal approval. These emergency changes bypass the normal review board in order to address incidents like zero-day security vulnerabilities or major service outages. Although implemented quickly, these changes must still be documented and reviewed after the fact to maintain accountability. The emergency change path should be clearly defined in policy so that teams understand when it applies and how it differs from standard procedures. Automation tools are increasingly used to assist with change control in modern IT environments. These tools help deploy configuration updates, run scripts, install patches, and push system changes in a consistent and repeatable manner. Examples include SCCM, Intune, Puppet, and Ansible, all of which are used to standardize deployments across multiple systems. Automation reduces human error and speeds up routine changes that have already been approved. On the A+ exam, understanding how automation fits into the change management process is an important concept tied to operational efficiency. Poorly managed changes can be the root cause of many IT incidents. When changes are made without planning or communication, they can disrupt dependent systems or break existing functionality. Missed notifications can lead to user frustration, lost productivity, and increased support calls. A pattern of unplanned changes undermines confidence in the IT department and can damage relationships with stakeholders. Understanding the link between change control and service reliability is essential for passing the exam and for working effectively in technical environments. Best practices for submitting a change request include being clear, detailed, and realistic about the proposed work. The submission should specify the systems involved, the estimated time for completion, the business impact, and the proposed fallback plan. It is also important to coordinate with all affected teams to avoid conflicts. Communication and precision in these submissions reduce misunderstandings and improve the likelihood of approval. The A+ certification expects technicians to recognize these attributes in properly documented change requests. In regulated industries, change management is not just a best practice, it is a legal and compliance requirement. Organizations subject to financial, healthcare, or data protection regulations must document every system change. During audits, reviewers may request access to change logs, approval records, and implementation details. These documents demonstrate that the organization is maintaining control over its systems and protecting sensitive data. Failing to meet these standards can result in penalties or loss of certification. Tracking changes also plays a key role in troubleshooting. When an issue arises, support teams often review recent change logs to determine whether the problem began after a specific update or modification. Comparing system behavior before and after a change can lead directly to the root cause. Change tracking also prevents duplicate efforts by showing what has already been tested or rolled back. The ability to use change history in problem diagnosis is a skill emphasized in real-world environments and tested in certification scenarios. Change approvals are time-sensitive, and many organizations enforce expiration rules to ensure accuracy. If a change is not executed within its approved window, it may require resubmission and reapproval. This keeps records aligned with current systems and ensures that the original risk assessment remains valid. Conditions may have changed since the approval was granted, and outdated approvals could lead to unexpected problems. The exam may present questions where a delay in implementation makes previous approvals invalid. Clear communication during a change rollout is just as important as technical execution. Technicians should provide updates throughout the process using simple, non-technical language that users can understand. This includes pre-change announcements, progress updates, and confirmation of completion. Technicians should also record any questions, feedback, or user-reported issues to evaluate the effectiveness of the communication plan. Successful change management relies on trust and transparency, which are built through consistent and professional messaging. To summarize, the change management process involves a structured series of steps that include planning, assessment, approval, implementation, documentation, and verification. This disciplined approach minimizes disruption, maintains operational continuity, and supports long-term system reliability. Whether responding to emergencies or conducting routine updates, the ability to follow and understand this process is a core part of technician responsibility. On the A+ exam, change management is a high-value concept that bridges technical execution with business accountability. Thank you for listening. Please visit baremetalcyber.com for more cybersecurity information, podcasts, books, and more.